Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello,
Hi, Leslie.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Flying home from Alabama, so I'm in the Chicago airport right now for the meeting.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice of you to
Hi, Stacey.
join. Hi, Doug. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm exhausted, actually. I haven't had a full night's sleep in like 7 days. I need my daughter to sleep.
I don't envy those days.
I just keep thinking I'll sleep someday. It's fine.
She's how old, a year?
Yeah. And she typically sleeps well. She is not feeling well. And so she's kind of doing this crying in her sleep thing. And it wakes me up, although she seems to still kind of be asleep.
Yeah, it gets tiring.
Yeah. Yep. Someone's face. Greg Kramer. Welcome back.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Vince. Glad you could join us. Well, got more people joining. For those of you who are new or haven't been on in a while, I typically wait until a couple minutes after the scheduled time just because people tend to get on just a few minutes late or sometimes have difficulty with the technology. And we want to make sure that everyone is able to join that wants to join. Molly, hi, Kathy, Colleen. You guys just get me today, no Nikki. Sorry about it.
Oops. Good morning.
How are you?
Just fine. It's a nice day outside. I wish I was out there.
It is nice. I was thinking,
I
no,
haven't driven my Model A at all this summer.
oh, maybe this afternoon.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'll be working. Johnny, I see you. Got a nice group of people join in. This is fun. Hopefully I have some new information for you guys. Maybe for some of you seasoned agents, this isn't going to be a ton of new information, but maybe a good reminder if nothing else. Look at everybody's already all muted yourself. No one's chatting with me. That's okay. Hi, Terry. Oh, I called him out, so he hid away again. Oh, there he is. All right, guys, I'm going to wait one more minute. Because I see people still joining. I'm going to get to sharing my screen. All right. I don't have a Nikki today, so I can see right now, like Colleen, I see you. Leslie, I see you. If you guys can give me the thumbs up if you see my screen, it says new listing exposure. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This month, we're talking about listings. And when Nikki and I were going over some of the content that we wanted to talk about, one of the things that we kept coming back to were multiple items that fit into this category of listing exposure or like your listings digital footprint. And what that means is So you have your listing, you get your listing contract. What now? So where does that listing go? You, as an agent, something that you need to do, and many of you do already, I know, you need to check the footprint of your listing, check the different websites, check the content, check to make sure all the information is correct on all the different sites, but also knowing where to do that or where the information comes from. We get that question all the time. A lot of agents believe that we can control some of the data that's put out to all the other websites, and that's not necessarily true. So we wanted to kind of make this something that you can see a little bit more about where your information goes once it hits the MLS. So that's what I'm going to go over today. Like I said, I'm alone. So if you guys have questions, please unmute yourself, or if you put it in the chat, maybe if someone could let me know if I don't see it, because I am kind of blind because I don't have all of your faces pulled up and I don't have the chat pulled up. So please feel free to stop me. Don't hesitate if you have a question, and I can clarify. So I'm going to start a little bit of the things I want to talk about. I wasn't going to show you hands-on, or I don't have the ability to show you hands-on. So I'm just going to walk through a little bit of a presentation while I speak for a little bit. And that first part is about where your information or where the property goes once it's entered into the MLS. So if any of you have seen this graphic, it's on the listing presentation that you all have available to you to speak to your clients or to your potential sellers. And it talks about all the different websites, both locally and then also nationally, that all of the listings go to. So something I want to clarify is once your new listing is entered into the MLS, it comes to npdodge.com, and then we send it out to a couple of different websites, but really most of them get their content and their data from the MLS, whether that be Swire or Great Plains, Paragon, Flex, whatever you want to call it. Most of the national websites get the data for your listings from the MLS directly and not from us. So who do we send it to? As a company, NP Dodge, once we receive the listings from the MLS, your admin enters it, it goes into the MLS. Once it is entered, it goes to npdodge.com. And then from there, the couple sites that we send it to ourselves where we control the data, or in a different word that maybe would help you, is if you had issues with the data or needed something changed, we would be the go-to for that would be Leading RE, Nextdoor, and then also homes.com. All these other websites outside of the ones that I just listed, they get their information directly from the MLS. So like the big one is Zillow.com. I'm going to talk about Zillow for just a minute here. We're going to talk about when you see incorrect information on your listings, how can you correct that? Any questions on the exposure of your listing to the different websites? We call this syndication. So if you hear the word syndication, that's what it's referring to. Once that listing goes into the MLS, it is syndicated out to all these websites. No questions on that right now? Oh, I see a chat. Where does it go?
Sorry, I could have asked you that.
That's okay.
Where does it go to? YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the social sites? Does it go to an NP Dodge site?
So it doesn't per se. So this is a graphic that I pulled from the listing presentation. So this would be like you as the agent would be presenting this to your client, and you have the ability to put it on all of those. Now, occasionally, there are some of the listings that get put on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm not sure how that's chosen by our marketing team. I know they work with another marketing team who says they're looking for specific listings. So when they come up, they do get put on the national one, but you can, or excuse me, national, on the company pages. Right. You can always talk to marketing about seeing how you can maybe maximize that opportunity. Good question.
Great idea.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to dive into now is, the big elephant in the room is always Zillow. No one wants to talk about it, yet your clients and customers, they're always talking about it. And that's where they're looking. So one of the number one places that agents should be checking the data of their website is Zillow. Now data can, get messed up in the tunnel when it gets taken from one account to the other. So as MLS is sending it to Zillow, there can be some issues. The number one place to check for a data issue to begin with is the MLS. Like I said, the MLS syndicates to all these sites, and MP Dodge syndicates just to a few after it reaches us. So most of them come from the MLS. So the number one thing you need to do when you're doing a data check is to double check your listing in the MLS. If it's wrong in the MLS, it's going to be wrong on every other website out there that it is syndicated to. So that is your first step to correct the data issues. Now, if you find one specifically alone in Zillow, I'm going to walk you through where you can go to correct those changes. So the first thing you want to do is go to Zillow.com, and then you're going to want to log in. When you click to sign in to Zillow, you have the option to sign into Zillow as a consumer, or if you go further down on the sign in, there will be a sign in as a professional. And it doesn't cost to have that account. That is free to all agents. Now they always have, the paid option of other things within Zillow, Premier Agent. You can become, if you buy zip codes, that sort of thing. You don't have to do any of that. Your listing will appear on Zillow, and you have the ability to have a pro account with Zillow just for being a real estate agent. Once you are logged in, you're going to see this agent hub. You guys see that in the top right corner? When you click on Agent Hub, it gives you all of these tabs down here. Once you click on listings, now this account shows no listings, but I wanted to show you this. You have this drop down no matter which tab that you're on, and you can always click this My Listings, see and edit your listings. Or if you have listings, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have active listings, inactive listings, and here you can see if I had these two listings, I can click right here to edit the listing. Now, for some reason, sometimes the data, like how many beds and baths, just gets totally messed up when it goes from the MLS to Zillow. And if you check the MLS and it looks correct, then your next step is to come in here to Zillow and click on Edit Listing, and you can modify those beds and baths, things like that. Any questions on logging on to Zillow or making changes to a listing, or do any of you with experience with this have any thoughts or suggestions?
Stacy,
Yeah.
if it's wrong on MLS, do you change it at MLS, and then does that automatically change at Zillow?
Yes, so all of these syndicated sites, they typically do a data refresh, or they're sending the feed every about 15 minutes. Sometimes it can be up to an hour or a little bit longer. So they don't send just individual property information and changes. They actually resend the whole feed every time. So if there's any changes in the MLS, such as a correction, it will override here as well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Any other questions on how to make changes at Zillow, or who sends that data, or anything to do with syndicated sites? No one. Okay, perfect. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about after you look and see, okay, where has my listing gone? It's on all of these national and local websites. The data looks correct. Now we need to get the information out to the consumers that are looking for homes, other agents. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the marketing side of a new listing once you have it. Many of you know that with NP Dodge, you have an AdWorks campaign created on your behalf with every new listing that you have. Now, what AdWorks is digital marketing that it's kind of that follow me advertising. If you are on, Zappos looking at some shoes and then you end up on other sites, maybe you're going to look at a news site. For some reason, those shoes that you were just looking at follow you everywhere and you just can't not see them. And so it's really hard not to buy them when you wanted them. And that's what AdWorks does. They're the follow me advertising. So what happens is with every new listing, within about 24 hours or so, you will get an email from AdWorks to approve or to just even look over the ad that they've created for your listing. And then that will run for a week and have approximately 7,000 views or impressions within 15-mile radius of your listing, a 15-mile radius. And what they do is that they look at the behavior of the consumer in that area. And if they're looking at things like mortgage rates or moving companies, if they're looking into things that they say are moving oriented, then they target those people with your listing. And this is something provided by NP Dodge for every new listing that you have. The criteria for the home is it has to be more than $60,000 as a price, and then it can't just be land. So it actually has to be a residential home. Also with AdWorks, there are a few other benefits available to you if you want to do more advertising with them. I thought I'd just throw this up there for those of you who aren't using it. You can enter your sphere into AdWorks. These are all paid by you, but they're additional services. And then zip code ads. If you wanted to create an ad, not for a listing, but for yourself, maybe you as an agent, and push it out to either your sphere or a zip code, you could do that with AdWorks as well. What does that look like? So if you see on the left-hand side, this is a picture of the ad on USA Today. So you can see the listing is there. It's going to have your information as the agent and your logo. It's going to have just listed and callback number, information about the property. And then on the right-hand side, it's going to show you an example of the ad performance summary. This is going to show you all the views that it has, where it's been featured. I just think it's a really cool feature. If you have not used this, or if you haven't looked at it once you have a listing and you're getting these emails from AdWorks, I suggest you take a look at it because it's got a lot of cool information. Any questions on that? Did someone unmute? No? Okay. This is an example of the ad when you are in your account. So the way to get to AdWorks is to your AdWorks account is to either click on the link in the email once you have a new listing, or if you go into NPD Office and click on the partners tile, you will find AdWorks there, and you can click there and it'll take you into your account directly. And if you have any campaigns, this is what it's going to look like. A huge piece that some agents miss is this portion where it says add your client's email. If you add your client's email to every campaign that is set up through AdWorks, this ad will then start to follow your clients. So as they start to browse, they're going to see their own home advertised. And this just looks really great. They think that you're putting it everywhere on all the sites that they're visiting. It goes on mobile, on like Facebook, as well as top news sites, sports sites, all of those sorts of things. It can be viewed everywhere so that they can start to see it. It'll follow them as they start browsing the web. Does anybody have questions on AdWorks or how that program works? Now you always have the option to kind of modify the campaign a little bit. You'll stay within the branding guidelines by keeping the logo there, but you can always make some changes to that. If you wanted to say something different, you can, as far as like the property information. You can also add weeks. If you like how that campaign is going for that first 7 days, you can always go on and add more weeks to that same campaign. All right, if you guys don't have questions on AdWorks, I'm going to jump out of here and share a new screen. Just a second. The next one I want to talk about is using the CRM to market your property. A lot of you know how to do this, but I want to talk through a few of the e-cards that are in the CRM and how you can use them. So I'm going to go into MPD Office and click CRM. And then I'm going to go in the top to the campaign section. So I have a new listing. I've checked my digital footprint. I've approved my AdWorks campaign and added my seller's email. And now I'm going to send my property out to all of the agents that are associated with the MLS. How are people doing this? Let me show you. So you go to CRM in MPD Office and you're going to click on the standalone campaigns. Oh, sorry, my screen just disappeared here. You guys still see it? Select a campaign.
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm going to click select under standalone. And once I'm here, I'm going to click add campaign. You can do it here or in the top right corner. It doesn't matter. It's going to take you to the same place.
I
And then
got
I'm gonna
this.
click on e-cards. Once I'm under e-cards, I'm going to go down to property related. Once you're on property related, you have a few options here. Now, something I'd love to talk through is we get a lot of questions about these cards here, like coming soon, keep an eye out, just listed, just reduced. None of those speak to the MLS. And what I mean by that is they don't pull in the property information automatically. These ones you can use to enter information if you just want to put text, or if you want to manually add information to the e-card itself as far as a photo, you can do that. I'm going to show you how to use these property related cards like this one, property related with 3 photos, 4 photos. If you had multiple properties that you wanted to do in a card. I'm going to show you how these work to pull in information from the MLS, but also I'd love to talk about no-shows. So no-shows are such a big thing right now that you guys are doing, putting them in the MLS, but having them listed as no-show. Per Paragon or the OABR's guidelines, no-show properties do not syndicate to any websites. So that means it's not going to go to all those national sites or local sites, but it also means it's not coming to our NP Dodge site. And this system pulls from our site. So we do not have the data of a new listing if it is in a no-show status to use these property cards that pull in the information from the MLS automatically. Does that make sense? So if you were going to do a card for a just listed property that's in no show status, you would want to select one of these other cards, just listed. Here's another just listed, price reduced, coming soon, keep an eye out. Any of these other ones, you could also come up to the CRM and use the e-stationery. You could use that one if you want to, because you are going to manually input information for any property that is in a no-show status. Does anyone have a question about that? I know that's kind of a newer thing and everybody's using that status, but maybe this part is a little bit confusing. No? Okay, I'm going to walk through how to create a property related card with 3 photos. I'm going to click the check mark to select this card. And then I'm going to customize the campaign. I'm going to do that here with these fields. So name your campaign. This is just for me to remember what campaign I'm sending out. No one's going to see this information. So I am just going to put in here what will help me to remember the card I'm sending. Somebody send a chat. So the question is, are you able to share photos on a no-show? So we did inquire with OABR about the rules, and you can market the property. You can share the photos and information about the property. They just will not syndicate the information, which means it's not going to pull on onto the website and into these types of programs automatically. So the answer we got on that is that you are able to. Okay. So I'm naming my campaign, and then it asks me for a subject line. Now you'll see here, this is grayed out. This is just suggested text. It's always going to have information in all of these fields, but I can customize all of it. I don't have to use the information that's in here. Subject is the email subject line. So you want this one to be a little bit catchy or make it something that people want to open. I'm not that creative, but I'm going to just put in there what it is, so that when I show you a preview, you'll be able to see which field pulls where. So the email subject line, and then the next one says pre-header. And I kind of beat the dead horse with this one. This is a really important field. It says, put a short preview of your email here. When I show you the preview of this card, it is going to look like such, it's so small, it's going to look like it's not pertinent information, but this is actually the mobile preview. So when you read your emails on your phone, you always have the subject line, and then underneath that, you get a little teaser about what's inside the email. That's what this pre-header space is. So you want to make sure the information is here is, is valuable. It needs to have something of good information to make someone want to open this card. It's okay if you repeat information that's inside the card because it won't look repetitive once you open it up. So I'm going to put pre-header here so that when I pull it, you can see what it looks like when I show the preview. And then header 1 and header 2, these are just bigger, bolder print. You can put whatever you want in here. But as I said, it's always going to pull in information into these fields, but you can modify them. If you don't want to have anything in here, you can just delete this out. Never leave the pre-filled information in these fields because it will pull. So you'll remember the pre-header said, use this area to give a short preview of your email. That will show in your card if you don't delete it. So make sure you delete it or add your own custom content. Okay. Next piece, this one asks for me to enter a property MLS number. Now, some of you don't know your MLS numbers by heart, but maybe you know the property address. You can start to type any part of the property address or the MLS number in here, and it will start to speak to the MLS. So I don't know my MLS number, but I know my property address. As you can see, it started to populate. Once it populates, I want to stop typing and click on the property because that's what's going to have it pull in all of the content from the MLS. You'll see as I scrolled down, it pulled in the property remarks. I can here modify this if I want to, make some changes, add information if I want to. I don't have to, but it pulls in what you have in the MLS as far as property remarks. As I scroll down, I can add custom content. Sometimes you might have something else you want to add here, but you definitely don't have to add information in this second content box. Most agents don't use it, but I am going to write what this is so you can see it when I show you the preview. As I scroll down to the bottom, give me just a second. I am going to click the preview. Can you guys see the preview? I can't see anybody anymore. Hopefully you guys can see that. So here it shows the pre-header. So like I said, it's teeny tiny. So it doesn't look like something that would be pertinent right here, but remember that is the mobile preview. So on a phone or a tablet, that is a very relevant piece of information, the pre-header. Header 1 and header 2 pulled here. Like I said, if I deleted out the information in one or both of these, that picture would just pop up to the top further right underneath that line. So you can use these or not use them. It pulled in the first 3 photos in the MLS. It will always pull in the order that they're in the MLS. And then as I scroll down, there is the property information and that content box if I had chosen to add information in that second empty field. Any questions on editing this card or the pieces that you see here before I move on? No? Okay, I'm gonna click close. From the preview, we should be back where I was editing the card. And then at the bottom, I'm gonna click next step. This is where you can choose to either send this card to your contacts or send it to the company contacts. Basically what that means is my contacts is going to be my own database, my own customers and clients and people that I communicate with in my CRM. And the company contacts are going to be the list that we maintain of all the agents within the MLS. So this is, I'm going to show you how to send it to all the outside agents in the MLS, but also you can always send it to your contacts as well. So I'm going to click company contacts, and then you're going to see we have two options here, outside agents and NP Dodge agents. And I am going to actually select both and then click add list. Once I've done that, they will populate here and I will go ahead and click next step. Now you don't have to do both lists. You could do one or the other, but I'm just doing all of them for the sake of this training. Next, you're going to get a launch report. The launch report will tell me if there were anyone who have unsubscribed or anybody who's bounced. Any duplicated emails will always be removed. And then it shows you the actual number that will be sent. Once I've done that, I'm going to select approved or proceed to send. And then I have the option to select a date and a time to send the card or click send it now. If I send it now, it says it can take up to 15 minutes. These all send on the quarter hour. So if I click send right now, it would send at 2 o'clock. If I click send at 2 o'clock, it wouldn't send until 2:15. Do you guys have any questions on sending out an e-card from the CRM of your property? No. Any questions on the no-shows? Would it be helpful if I showed you how to add pictures and content to one of the other cards that don't pull in the properties? Anyone? No? Yes? I've got a video on it. I'm going to upload here soon to our website. So if that's not something we want to walk through today, the next thing I am going to show you is sharing your property on Facebook using social media and talking through the best way to do that. Any questions before I move out of the CRM? No? Okay, remember we've got our new listing. We have checked our digital footprint. All the data looks correct. We approved our AdWorks campaign and added our seller's email address. And then we sent out the new listing email to all agents of the MLS. And now it's time to share it to our social media. So the best practice is for you to go to your branded website. Sometimes we call it a rebrand, but it's your NP Dodge website. You each have one. Every single agent with Dodge has one, and your URL or the web address is your first name, last name, .npdodge.com. So rather than share the property from npdodge.com, the generic website or the main company website, the reason you want to do it from your website is because if someone clicks on that property, you want to send that traffic to your website, not only for the sake of traffic to your website drives up your SEO, but also if that person starts to click around within your website, you kind of have them quarantined. If they click on a property that you aren't the listing agent or it's not even listed with our broker, it doesn't matter. It's going to look like it's represented by you because they're on your website. The reason we call it a rebrand is because the whole website is rebranded to you. So any action button, schedule a showing, more information, contact me. Any of those are going to come directly to you as a direct lead if it's on your rebrand website or your agent website. So to find your website, you're going to type in first name, last name, .npdodge.com. I'm using Kelly's as an example here. And if I scroll down the home page, you're going to see your information, as an agent, your bio, your reviews, and then you'll get to your listings. So I want to get to my listings from my website. So let's pretend I'm Kelly. I'm going to click on this listing to get to what we call the property details page. I'm going to let it load here for a minute. Molly, I see you. Did the property details load? Okay, thank you. Once you're on the property details page, if you scroll down to right underneath where the images are, we have a share button. It just doesn't even get easier than this. I'm going to click on share from Kelly's website on the property. So share, and then I'm going to get these icons. So I can click Facebook straight from the property details page. All right, can you see my pop-up? I might have to reshare to the pop-up. Molly, can you see the pop-up? Yeah, it says post to Facebook and it's starting to populate the post. I think she's saying no.
No, it just is showing like the Facebook icon, Twitter icon, the
Okay.
plus.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay, so when I clicked on the Facebook icon, this is the window that popped up. It's so easy to share from your website by clicking that icon, but something that's really important to remember is that when we have a business page on Facebook, that is created through our personal page. So when you click that icon, it's automatically going to pull up your personal page. So you can see, here's my personal Facebook page. That's not where I want to share my property. I want to put it onto my business page. So in order to do that, all I have to do is click on this drop down where it says share to news feed or story. And I'm going to change this to share on a page that I manage. All of you will be managers of your own business page on Facebook, so you will have this option. Now, if you have more than one page that you manage, you'll have another drop down. I'm going to go to my fake agent one here. So Stacy Jansen, I haven't updated that obviously for a few years. Here is my business page, and it's going to show me that I'm sharing on the page that I manage. This is the page it's going to, and I'm posting as that page. Now I can say something about the property, check out my new listing, or whatever information I want to. And if I scroll down on this pop-up, I can just click post to Facebook and I'm done. It's that easy. And that window closed out. That's why it disappeared from your screen. But it's as easy as clicking that icon, share, and clicking the Facebook icon to send it to Facebook. There is a Twitter option. There's an email option. If I click on the plus, it gives me a bunch more options. And if I click on it, it takes me to bigger icons where I can select different share options. I don't know who has all of these or why you're sharing to all of these, but more power to you. Facebook, that's the main one. Do you guys have questions on sharing to Facebook? No? Nobody. Okay, we've shared our property with agents. We've shared it with our social media. I would also suggest you share your properties through the CRM with your whole sphere. So that means going back to those contacts. When I selected the company contacts, select your own contacts and send them out that way. But this is kind of the walkthrough of where all does it go when you have a new listing? Who should I send it to? How do I look at that data and make any corrections like on Zillow? Again, if you have any data issues across the board, the MLS is always the best place to start. And if you don't remember this, you can ask Nikki or I. We can always help you figure out where the data source was so that we know where the issue may lie if there's an issue and help you to get it corrected. That is my walkthrough for today. Do you guys have questions on any of it? I'm seeing no.
Thank you, Stacy.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining from the airport. Have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you for taking time out of your day. Now it's really nice to go like take a walk or something. Go play golf.
Thank you, Stacy.
Molly, go play tennis.
Thanks, Stacy.
You're
I'm
welcome.
gonna post on the Facebook right now.
Atta girl, you're always so hands-on after these.
Well, trying to.
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna-
Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stacy.
No problem, Doug. Thanks for joining.